This is the lesson 1 video notes for no more double signs. Hopefully you guys have taken a look at example 1. This small lesson is really about one thing. We're getting rid of some middle school habits and textbooks that teach this double sign. In algebra, you're going to find that they don't use these at all after the middle school. And what I'm talking about are examples that look like this. For example, 3 minus a negative 7. Again, you guys realize that that is the negative and this is the minus. But in algebra, you are never going to see those little positive or negative signs. Let me give you another example. Let's do 3 minus a positive 7. And again, we recognize that means minus or subtract, and this means it's a positive 7. But again, in algebra, you will never see these tiny signs representing positive and negative. Instead, you're going to see one big sign every time. Either a big plus, which can mean plus, add, or positive. Or you're going to see one big negative, which again can be negative, could also mean subtract, or of course minus. But in algebra, they mean the same thing. Let me show you what I mean with a typical algebra expression. Five minus 7 parentheses 3. Let me show you what happens when we cover the 3 up. All of a sudden, this sign right here becomes 5 minus 7. But if I cover the 5 up, it ends up being negative 7 times 3. So you can see this sign right here means both things. It could be negative 7 or minus 7. The rules are pretty simple. If you have two of these signs, and again, we can call them negative, subtract, minus, whatever you want to call them. If you have two of those together, it is always going to create a positive or plus sign. And if you have one of those signs, for example, or, notice that there's one negative sign in that problem, one negative or minus sign in that problem. Again, we don't care what you call them. They will always create a negative sign, or if you want to call it a minus sign or a subtract sign. Let's look at our two examples. Over here in example 2, we're just going to go through the problem. Let's expand example 2. So if we write this problem out with one sign only, one sign, and now we get to the double signs. Again, our rules are if there's one negative, the whole thing is one big negative. 68 looks good. One plus sign, one minus sign, and again we get to a double sign. Again, the two negatives always creates a positive or a plus, whatever you want to say, and one more double sign, one negative or minus, whatever you want to call it, creates a minus or negative. And this is where we put it right into our calculator, or if you really go to the numbers, do it in your head. The great thing about this method is you literally punch in exactly what you see. You never have to worry about hitting negative because you know this is an add or a subtract problem. So literally it's 18 minus 9 minus 68 plus 25, etc. My calculator spit out negative 213. Let's check out example 3. This time, instead of writing all the numbers over again, I'm going to be a little more lazy. I'm basically just going to circle all the double signs and replace them with the proper sign. So here, our first double sign, one negative, always creates a negative or subtract. Our second double sign, two negatives, always creates a positive or a plus. And this is where I would just type in my calculator. Now remember, if the first sign is that, minus, negative, subtract, we're obviously going to tell the calculator that is a true negative 32. After that, subtract, subtract, add, add. You never have to hit the negative sign except for when the first one is truly negative. You need to tell your calculator this is what it is. My calculator spit out minus 109. It's at this point when I ask the kids in my class to come up with a list of all the things that will mean plus or positive. I've already started the list for you down here, so just press pause, discuss anything you can think of that will actually mean plus or positive. These are some of the words my group came up with. You can see you have the normal increase, longer, to rise, more than, gain, and then I had some of my business kids who think they're good with money talk about the words like deposit, profit, growth, and maybe you guys understand this word. A car never does this, but a house does. Appreciates. Obviously, we can write the opposite words down where it says negative. Go on and press pause while you fill this in. You are officially ready to handle double signs.